have to stay back, please. The area is dangerous because of shotgun. Please stay back. Mesdames et messieurs, vous reculez, s'il vous plaît.
Well, late on Thursday, the French capital was the scene of another terror attack. One policeman was killed, two seriously wounded when a man armed with an assault rifle opened fire on a police van. The incident took place on the most iconic of Parisian avenues, the Champs-Elysees. These eyewitnesses described what happened.
I was walking on the pavement. There was a bus full of police. The man parked just in front of the bus, and then he got out a Kalashnikov, and then he shot 6 times. I thought it was fireworks. Then he went and hid behind a lorry.
We were moving towards a car and then I heard 2 or 3 shots, but I didn't realise they were shots to start with, and well, then there was just panic all around. Everyone started running down the Champs-Elysees just by instinct. I didn't stop to work out what was going on. I just ran too.
Olivier Guitta is with the security and counter-terrorism company Global Strat. What did he make of latest developments from Paris?
There was really a major risk of a terror attack in the run-up to the French presidential election. The Minister of Interior of France had warned that the risk of a terror attack was at the maximum level. Both Islamic State and Al-Qaeda had called for their followers to strike France in the run-up to the election. And just 2 days ago, 2 major jihadists were arrested in Marseille. They were planning an attack in the next few days, also on a large-scale level.
What about the location? I mean, it couldn't be more French. It is a representation of France and Paris and the capital, the iconic Champs-Elysees.
That's exactly the modus operandi of Islamic State, that specifically targets symbols but also tourism areas. They want to cripple the different economies, as we've seen in other countries in the world.
Along with this claim of responsibility from so-called Islamic State, they've put forward a name, Abu Youssef the Belgian, and that once again throws a spotlight on a country, Belgium, from where there seem to have been an awful lot of terror suspects operating there.
The main point would be actually the fact that Islamic State claims responsibility within just 2 hours of the attack, which is very unusual for them, which makes me believe that this individual was part of the network rather than just being inspired or linked.
There are going to be all sorts of questions, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of finger-pointing with people, especially during an election campaign, saying the authorities aren't doing enough. But you do wonder to what extent you can actually prevent something like this happening.
You're totally correct. I was in France just yesterday. The presence of soldiers and police in the street is just mind-boggling. I mean, we're talking about 50,000 soldiers and police around France to secure different landmarks and also the polling booth for Sunday's election. And we're talking about 15,000 potential jihadists on the terror watch list just in France.
There's this terrible expression, which is terrorism is the new normal, but I guess that is the reality for a country like France today.
Yes, this is the new normal, and it has been the new normal since September of 2014, actually, when the spokesman of Islamic State called on its followers, in the West to stay at home, not go to Syria or Iraq, and target the homeland. So that was the inflection point, if you will, of this new normal. We're talking about 7 foiled attacks in France since the beginning of the year in just 3 months. That's the new normal.
Olivier, thank you so much for your time. Thanks a lot.
My pleasure, Julian.